Okay, so I put this together just this morning for a couple reasons. One is Denise was going to give the seminar or the webinar this evening, and she's got some, I believe, COVID-19 responsibilities. They're just pulling on all the health professionals, and she being a doctor is being impacted. So, so I thought, what I'd like to do is we focus on COVID-19, and there's so many people now that are in a stay-at-home order, or they're bound to home. You're going to be spending a lot more time in home, in your home office, and it's only been a week or two. So, we're probably doing decently, not noticing a whole lot of difference, but um, but as time goes on, and this is like a marathon, it's for the long run, it can grow on you. There are so many things you can't do. Well, what can you do? And so we're going to focus on, how to keep your sanity, increase your fitness, believe it or not. And I think that's really important that we not only say, well, I'm going to maintain, but we think in terms of what can we increase, what can we move ahead with, because we could be in this situation for another 2 months. That's a long time. And then how can you boost your immunity? We understand that the virus could come in waves, and it could come back again in the fall. We're expecting that we don't have a vaccine for 12 to 18 months, which means that we need to go through all of next winter, fall and winter, without a vaccine. And the only protection we're going to have is social distancing. So, all that amounts to we're going to be spending a lot of time restricted from the activities we used to partake in. So, how are we going to prepare for this marathon? And so it's defeating the enemy is what I'm calling this, laying the groundwork for your better future now. So rather than seeing this as an event that is cutting off possibility, what if this were an event in our lives that was the beginning of something new? It's like a rebirth event. And and so how can we lay the groundwork for a better future right now? Okay, so what I want to explore tonight, and once again, I put this together just in a few hours today. So I want to pull from everyone's wisdom. I'm going to bring up some issues that I think are really important for us to grapple with, and then look to your wisdom in these areas. But we want to think in terms of tips for creating a sustainable work from home strategy. And most of us are used to working from home, but what makes that sustainable for you? I'm going to be asking for ideas and sharing from my wisdom too, but don't see this as me being the teacher who is going to fill your minds with the great wisdom. If I can just bring up the issues, and then we multiply the wisdom that each of us has. How to avoid dangers that can sap energy, health, and motivation. What are those dangers? How to set health goals and follow through with health goals that can lead to your greatest time of health improvement. we're bound to home. Stay at home orders. How could we possibly be thinking this is our greatest time of health improvement? Yet it can be, and we'll explore that. How to get outside for sun, fresh air, exercise, and health while remaining safe. And what can we actually do? A little later, I'll show you the actual stay-at-home order from Nevada that I printed. We'll take a look at that. We'll look at possibilities. What are we allowed to do? And what outdoors areas, parks are still open. I have a grand adventure that I do every Saturday, and I go out in the mountains. And so my question throughout the week that I ask myself is, where's my adventure going to be on Saturday? And so part of what spurred this presentation was my search for, where am I going to go Saturday that's going to be okay to go, that's going to be safe. So I'll share some of the things that I learned from that. What outdoors areas are still open, and then we'll look at creative, safe, natural excursions. And why I'm focusing on the outdoors and at a stay-at-home time. It seems a little strange, but I feel that the outdoors are, if you just stay in your in four walls during this time, and again, we're talking weeks to come, and possibly repeating some of this next fall. If you stay at home, it can be debilitating for your health in every single area of health. So we're going to explore is how to get out. Okay, and the benefits of attending this webinar: you're going to keep your sanity. The goal is to keep your sanity during the long weeks of social distancing ahead, to increase your level of fitness, and to boost your natural immunity for added protection when social distancing ends and when the second round of COVID-19 hits in the fall. And that is vital that we use this time now, not just to social isolate, but to boost our immunity. What does that mean? How can we do it? And I'll share my wisdom on that. It's common sense wisdom, but it's something that I think is important for us to internalize and then look to your wisdom also. Okay, so the marks of a sustainable work from home strategy. What are those marks? And I'll share these, and feel free to add your own. So take some notes, and then at the end of this list, we'll share, and you can add your own. One is set holistic goals. So I think goal setting is really important. And what I mean by holistic is look at not only, I'm going to continue my business, or I'm going to grow my business, but what about your body and your physical health? What about your mental health and growing your mental health? What does that mean? What does it mean to grow your emotional health? Your social health. How can you grow socially during this time of social distancing? And how can you grow spiritually? We're going to look at all those areas. And what I'm encouraging all of us, myself, I'm listening to, first of all, in this, I'm encouraging myself too, is to set some holistic goals. Set a holistic goal in each of these areas. Another thing that makes work from home sustainable is creating a routine. We've been used to getting out, and we've had a routine that involved, you go to networking events, you go to visit clients, you go to the grocery store, you visit friends and family, and there's kind of a routine that you do things certain times. You go exercise outside. Um, those routines, in some respects, are going to change because they have to change. But what are we going to replace them with? So encourage you to, routine is is a real saving element to our lives if you have something that you can depend on. And it's good emotionally, it's good spiritually to have some kind of routine. That's why faith groups have rituals. It's something you can count on. And in times when everything around you is changing, one thing that is really vital is to create a routine so you have something you can depend on, something you can count on. Something happens at a certain time. If the whole world is changing around you, if you have your routine, it's going to be like a rock for you. Okay, maintain connection with clients and associates. How can you do that? And we've explored some virtual networking. We're doing virtual meeting now, and I think we need to do a lot more of that, and that's going to continue even into the future. So a really cool thing that we explored today at New Network Northwest was how to do the open networking time and split into groups of two and have individual conversations. And we actually figured out how to do that with the networking tool Zoom that we're using, and be glad to share that with you. But anyway, maintain your connection with clients and friends, clients and associates, family. Those connections are so important. Set and maintain boundaries. And when you're at home all the time, boundaries are so very important, that you have a boundary between your work and your relaxation. And I don't know if that's a space that you set, if that um, is a time that you set, but it's really important to set those boundaries. Let's see, we've got a chat. Oh, Annie says to everyone, your child. Boundaries are important. Yes. And yeah, set boundaries um, between yourself even and those who are living in the same home. I think that's important. Um, okay, so another, avoid life sapping influences and habits. And we'll talk about some of those. What habits and influence can sap your life? And um, for example, one thing that I'll mention a little later, especially is you're at home. Okay, so what is there? What's our window into the world when you're home? It's the TV. Okay, and you want to see what's happening on in with the COVID-19 crisis. Um, and so there is 24-hour news, and and you're hearing, your mind and awareness and consciousness is being filled with these stories 24/7. You've got to set boundaries, and so yeah, watch the news, be informed, but don't be hooked into it too much. That can become life sapping. um, um, Eating can be life sapping. um, it's you're here at home, and um, and sometimes that can destroy our physical conditioning, and we just eat. And sometimes we eat when we are depressed, or when we're worried, when we're in stress, and um, and what that will do is really sap your energy and your life when you allow yourself to succumb to too much of that. Create new experiences, learning and connections, and we'll talk a little more about that. But the idea is that no, this isn't the closing off of our learning. There's a lot of things we've wanted to study, we've wanted to research, um, and we've wanted to expand in our knowledge. Now's the time to set a goal. What are you going to? What's the next thing you're going to learn? How are you going to improve your professional knowledge and skill, and just things that you're interested in? Dedicate yourself in your business to continual improvement and growth. So what I'm saying is these 7 things for me are like 7 starting points for a sustainable work from home strategy. And notice that the refrain here is that it's not like, okay, I'm hunkering down and I'm trying to maintain myself. No, it's like this is the beginning of a new movement forward, of continual growth. I'm moving forward. And so these are some ways to create that mentality during this time. So open it up. Questions, thoughts. What do you guys do to maintain to be sustainable in this situation? Have you thought of what you're going to do?
I've thought about creating products for passive income. I mean, I haven't done it yet, but that's one way
Okay.
that I want to implement to make it sustainable for me.
Excellent. What kind of products might those be?
Like an online course.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, in the works of that, in the research stages still. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm taking courses to study them so I can create a good course. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, how great on the other side of this, you you emerge from this with some amazing courses that you can share with others. It's like this could be the best growth period of your business and your life. That's good. Have you heard of LearnDash?
No, I haven't.
Do you have a WordPress site?
No, my designer uses it's not WordPress. I forgot what it is, but yeah, it's not WordPress.
Anyway, I am creating courses for a number of different health professionals now, and I'm using an online course platform that anyone can use.
Oh,
And
cool.
I'd be glad to talk with you about that, so that sometimes when you have the platform and you know what areas to put your your various modules into, and how to map out a course, and you have a place where you can do that. It can add some organization that will really help. So
yeah, that's definitely necessary.
If you'd like to talk about that, let me know.
Yeah.
Love
Thank
to
you,
talk
David.
with you. Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, what else? What else are you guys doing? Holly, what are you doing?
Well, I am. I'm a nurse, so I have still been working as a nurse, and there, if it gets really bad here in our state, there's a possibility of being recalled into a hospital.
Okay.
To work.
Wow.
So so in the meantime, I feel like I've been having lots of shifts anyway. And I walked in my house one day and my apartment, and I said, oh my God, I can't stand the energy in here anymore. And so I took every knickknack down and every picture down and put them in the kitchen, and then deep clean, because I had new windows put into my apartment this last week also, which was rather interesting. And I moved my living room to my dining room, my dining room to my living room
All right.
completely, and completely redid
Oh
my
my
whole
gosh.
apartment in one day.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I just was like on this intuitive roll with it, and doing and practicing um, intentional placement of
Mm-hmm.
things, meaning it's not just I'm gonna put it over here. It's like, why am I putting it there? What does it represent? What feeling do I get from it when I look at it? And so very intentional with placement. So then I went to my garage the next day and I got out 5 different art projects that I have want to do and haven't done for a few years, and set them up and got the material out for them so that when I do get bored, if I ever do, I can go to my garage and just work on some art projects.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is getting my newsletter. I'm writing a newsletter to my clients and checking in with all of them. And there's been a lot of Skyping and a lot of Zooming and a lot of FaceTiming with family and friends, and connecting and everybody checking in on everybody, and creating different groups doing Zoom meetings where we're going to dance and have a party, but via Zoom. And we'll be dancing and yoga and stuff like that. So that's the create new experiences, learning and connections, really, because we're learning a new way to communicate, where our phones and computers have been what we might have considered as a downfall of not connecting and being in our phone all the time. It's actually what's bringing us out of this also.
Okay. And I like what you brought into this, the whole idea of feng shui and creating a setting that once again the setting where you are, your home, can be the one real rock solid constant in a very unchanging world. You, Holly, are preparing potentially for a storm if you're thrown into the hospital system in the midst of a crisis. And wow, yeah, you more than anyone else need to have a sanctuary.
Right. So I feel like that's just what I did. I created my sanctuary
Mhm.
that matches my energy right now and the energy I want to put out from here outward. So
Excellent.
yeah, well, that's what I'm up to. That's the way I see it.
Okay. Okay, let's go to the next. Okay, so I want to take our 5 pillars of health and just look at, I mentioned continual improvement, and let's break it down now. And so it's all about creating a new normal. And what's the new normal physical improvement strategy? We each had some kind of exercise, some kind of activity. We may not be able to do that activity anymore. So how do you adjust? Take the very best of what you do now. I like getting out in nature, as you know, and yet a lot of the places that I'd like to go are now closed off. So I've got to think, okay, what can I do to adjust? And it has in part to do with a little self analysis. What was your physical activity doing for you? How was it helping you? And then how can you replicate those benefits in a new setting? And so those are some questions to ask. And then what are safe outdoor excursions? What do we mean by that? And we'll look at that a little later, but how can you be safe outdoors? Where can you go? And I'd like to add for, at the very top of the physical improvement is getting adequate sleep when we're home. If you got a TV in your bedroom, especially, and you're watching TV late into the night, that can sap energy. And especially if you're watching all the COVID news, it can become an emotional drain on you. So, so those are some things. If you're, for me, a runner out in the wilderness, I can still find places to go. And I'll mention some of those places that are still open. There are a lot of places that are still open. What if you exercised in the gym? And the gym is the last place that you want to go now, where you're, sitting on equipment that other people have been touching, and that could just be, a horrible place to catch COVID-19. So, what can you do? I'll open it up to people. What do you do for exercise, and how has your how has the COVID-19 experience changed your exercise, and how have you adapted?
It's been easy.
Hey,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Annie.
It's been easier for me because the same instructors that I would have had to have paid a monthly fee to go to at a yoga studio are now providing it online for free in the comfort of my own home.
Awesome.
And so I'm getting the same instructor and it's saving me money
Okay.
for
So
yoga.
so how are you, when you participate in yoga, one thing is, yeah, you're going through motions, you're doing meditation, but another thing, you're doing that in a community setting with others. So, for a while, yeah, you can go through those motions sitting in front of your computer, but at some point, there are other aspects of what you were getting from that yoga experience that can't be done, replicated totally alone. What are you doing about that? Have you thought about that?
I'm not even thinking about that. I'm thinking like,
Okay.
hey, the pressure's off now that if I'm late for yoga, no judgment. I just show up. Like,
Okay.
I'm not walking in the middle of a classroom trying to find space 2 minutes after it started. It doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Yeah.
It's Zoom.
Okay. Okay, good. Anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, I can jump in. So I can relate with the other aspects of working out. Like on my own, I can work out, if I'm disciplined for 2 weeks on my own. And that's it. That's as far as I get. I need the camaraderie. I need the community. I need other people around me to do that. So I do a boot camp, civilian boot camp that we do out in the park. We're out in nature. We're up early in the morning. That's how I get my fitness. It's hard to replace that. I don't know of any other way to get that except through that.
Do you feel like you're going to have to stop doing that, or can you do it safely? Is that gonna change?
Right. So we're out in the open and we're 6 feet apart. We're practicing social distancing.
Okay.
I'm very comfortable with that. And so are they. We've just made a mutual decision that this works for us. Right. We still get our workouts done. We still get to hang out and talk and chat. And we're comfortable with it. We're not making the situation worse. It would be hard to me to get that, to recreate that any other way. So that's been our adjustment for our physical wellness.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you exercise in community with others, and you all agreed on some ground rules, and you're all observing that and found a way to continue. So very good. Okay, let's move on. Okay, mental improvement. Create a new normal mental improvement strategy. Adjust what was working before and make it better. What were you doing before this happened? Maybe you're doing some online learning. Maybe you were going to seminars. Maybe you were having discussions with people, and you were meeting with people at a Starbucks or wherever. How can you we got to be more intentional about this. So how can you become more intentional to make this continue? Just self-analyze what was working for you. What were the elements? Break it down to what were the valuable elements in your mental improvement strategy, and then put that into this social distancing situation, stay-at-home situation. Expand virtual learning opportunities, and we're all seeing that happening. But when you're on your own, this is a challenge that I have. There is so much information out there, and it's easy just to get into something, take a few nibbles of one thing, and then go to another thing, and pretty soon you've got, you're a mile wide and an inch deep, and it can be very confusing. Focus is going to be very important, and being very selective of our learning opportunities. Set a reading goal. Balance the active and the passive medium. And what I mean by that, this is, once again, television is a passive medium. Reading is a little more active. What we're doing now is a lot more active because you have an opportunity to participate. Get adequate sleep. I got to throw that in just about everywhere because I think mental improvement and sleep go hand in hand. And then practice focus and self-discipline. And once again, there are so many things we could learn, and our computers are a window to the world. That's a positive, and it's also can be a downfall for us. So be selective, focus, and for example, when you're in we're going to virtual learning experiences and virtual networking experiences. When you're in a room networking and communicating with people, you can't just get up and walk away. You can't start looking at other things on your computer. When you're in a virtual situation, it's so easy to lose focus. We have the opportunity to leave and to return at will, and that can create a real lack of focus, and a lack of focus is detrimental toward mental improvement. So learning new focus. Anyone want to share what is a mental improvement strategy that you might formulate or that works for you in a time like this?
For me, I really just focus on what my intuition tells me that is really going to keep me focused, if that makes sense. Yeah, just pretty much just going with the flow and not having a solid plan, but just know that I feel like doing this is what's going to help me build my foundation at this time. And since I really want to work on it, then that helps me keep my focus for whatever that is. So
Okay.
following my intuition.
So there's a balance between free focus, like free creative thinking, and on the other hand, um, having a plan and moving ahead through steps. Yeah. Anyone else?
I wanted to ask you a question, David. Are we speaking specifically about keeping focus during video conferencing or just in general?
Keeping focus in general. Starting something, bringing it to completion. You start a book, bring it to completion. If you start a conversation or a networking event, take it through to completion. If you if you start a course, take it through to completion. So just bringing things to completion, I think is so important.
That does take a lot of focus.
I would say right now for me too would be like some of my getting my CEUs online for my nursing license, that renewal that will come up in September. So for me, that's one of the things I plan on doing is the getting some CEUs. And but I don't have a TV. I haven't had a TV for years and years, so I don't watch TV.
Okay, well you're ahead of a lot of us.
So a lot of what I've noticed is I've had a lot of time to do more meditation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And just letting to let this settle and to check in with the energy on the planet and check on the energy with myself and get really centered right now.
Okay.
And ask myself, what do I want to be putting out into the collective consciousness right now? Like when people say, I'm so worried about this, and then I just like, my whole motto with that is worry's the opposite of prayer.
Mm-hmm.
So what you want to put worry out there, or you want to put prayer out there? Because most people understand that lingo.
Mm-hmm.
But that for me is like if I'm starting to feel anything other than peace, joy, gratitude, then one of the things I do is I just start listing everything that I'm grateful for. I just start going into it like a mantra of I'm grateful, and I just keep saying things that I'm grateful for until I've shifted that.
Very, very good. Yeah, the mind that is in stress and fear it's hard to move forward mentally when you have that situation.
And to Holly's point, practicing gratefulness is the tool that I use to shift out of the fear mindset into a more positive mindset, right? And that's basically what we're doing here. Right? I told, when I met with my team, I told them, we're going to practice resiliency. And resiliency is going through a tough and challenging situation and coming out strong, right? And when you do that shift, right, then you start thinking about, okay, how can we actually take advantage of the situation to improve our situation, right? What are the advantages? Oh, I have more time. Okay, there's some books and some courses you've been wanting to do. Maybe now's the best time to do it. That shift gives you an opportunity to take advantage of the situation, see the silver lining, and to move on it, right? And that drives your intention.
Definitely. So turning the negative into a positive by taking advantage, seeing what opportunities are there. Very awesome. I think that there are a couple things in addition that are at the core of mental improvement. One of those is very simple. Don't let any day go by without having an entirely new experience that you've never experienced before. And so like you wake up in the morning and ask yourself, what am I going to experience today that I've never experienced before? It does amazing things to the mind. And another thing is, yes, we can read. Watching TV is passive. Reading is a little more active. One of the most active mental exercises is communicating with others and sharing your knowledge and finding ways. Okay, how can I? Who am I going to share my knowledge with today? Who am I going to share something that I've learned that I feel is valuable and beneficial? And just what am I going to experience that I've never experienced before? What am I going to share with someone? Who am I going to share it with that is going to put into words something that is a discovery that I've made? Be very powerful. Okay, so mental improvement. Now you guys were hitting upon the emotional aspect and fear. And I've already said set limits for the TV and the news. Remain positive, share positivity. You guys said that. Spend more time communicating with positive people. There are people that in our lives that are very positive. Do you know who those people are? Do you know who the positive people are in your life? Figure out how you can spend more time with them and less time with negative people. And, putting into your consciousness, getting back the TV and news, positive things. I'm not saying, let's deny the negative and let's live in a rose-colored world, but at the same time, negativity is not the truth. The ultimate truth is very, very positive and beautiful. So let's lean into that. And then I put get adequate sleep again, because emotionally, no matter what you do, if you only slept 2 or 3 hours, it's going to be hard. You're working uphill on that one. Create milestones, recognize achievement, and celebrate completion. So you've got 8 weeks of social isolation ahead. April and May, it looks like, when it comes down to it. And you're going to be hearing news that is not always pleasant. But you've got this 8-week period. Can you set some milestones for yourself so that you have things that you can complete? You can recognize things you have achieved, and then you can celebrate them. I think there's nothing more powerful emotionally than to be able to set a goal, achieve it, and celebrate the completion. So be thinking about that. What else would anyone like to share in terms of emotional improvement strategy? Okay, and some of you already shared some of this, so that's all right. Just be thinking of it though. Physical, mental, emotional, not just maintaining, but improving. What are you going to do?
And
then,
spiritual.
What's that?
And spiritual.
And spiritual, definitely. That's that one. It's coming up, and he can't wait for that one. That's her playing ground, which is awesome. I'll just turn it over to you when we reach that spot, Andy. So social improvement, reconnect with those who mean the most to you? Is there someone in your life who means a lot to you that you just kind of don't connect with so much, and you think, well, I'll connect with them later. I'll connect with them later. I'll tell you a story. The one evening a number of years ago, my mother called. My ex-wife answered the phone at that time, and she said, she talked with my mom for a while, and then she said, "Hey, do you want to talk to mom?" I can picture her to this moment holding up the phone and offering it to me, and I had to go to a meeting, so I said, I'll call her later. Okay. The next morning, she had a stroke, and she never came out of it. And I'll remember my ex-wife holding up that phone and saying, "Do you want to talk to your mom?" And I missed my last opportunity to talk to my mother. And so a time like this, you only get one. Sometimes you don't get a second opportunity. And think of the people in your life that mean a lot to you, and maybe you've grown distant, and maybe you've gotten into, well, I'll talk with them at some point. um, Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. So um, I encourage you to make a list of those people who mean a lot to you, and remain close to them. That is part of our social health, very important. And make new connections. Continue to make new connections, and take that extra time to call someone, have a one-to-one meeting. Use your Zoom, and if you are having trouble with that, I'll be glad to help you with it. Um, but make new connections too. And then I don't know, we're spending time outdoors, taking in the light, came into this. That's more in the spiritual area for me. But I guess do that with others to the extent that you can, like Gus in his park with his um, guys doing the, what is it, war games, or what did you call that, Gus?
Yeah, we were playing there's a board game called Pandemic, where the goal is to cure 4 diseases before they blow up all over the
That's
world.
funny. Okay.
And this time we were fortunate. We saved the world as is. It doesn't work out that way. It gets pretty nasty pretty fast.
So, okay. Anyway, social improvement. Any thoughts that any of you have in that area that you'd like to share?
Well, I also am looking at and doing more with my grandkids. Like we play cards via Zoom or Skype or FaceTime, and we just had to adjust rules a little bit of games and things like that. But while we're playing games, and there's a lot of chit chat and a lot of connection that's made. So, I think this last week I spent a lot of time not only with them but with other people, and just checking in, finding out what's going on with them all over the country and all over the world. How are you doing? How's it affecting you personally? And just reaching out. You know, just reaching out.
Very good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Annie.
I'm a fan of games. I work very hard on being bored, having those opportunities where there's nothing that I feel is urgent that needs to be done. And when that time comes, pull out a board game. and I get to hang out
Oh,
with business and giggle and laugh. So I'm a
yeah.
fan.
Okay. Hanging out. Yeah. Yeah. No agenda. Good. Okay, Annie, we're in your area. Spiritual improvement. Create a new normal spiritual improvement strategy. That's a social. Like I said, I put this together very quickly. Um, but my three are connect with your higher purpose, experience meditation and meditative movement, and spend times outdoors taking in the light. And as far as your higher purpose, do you know what your higher purpose is? Why are you here? What difference will it make after you leave this place, after you transition? What difference will it make that you were here? What is your higher purpose? Um, and I've been working on that for many years, and it's not something that for me at least is, oh, now I know. It's like it's a continual discovery, but asking the question is important, and maybe at this time we have an opportunity to ask that question more. Meditation and meditative movement, that's one thing I like about walking, riding a bike, running, is that there's a rhythm that you establish when you're doing that movement. And pretty soon you forget you're not thinking, oh, I need to take this next step. I need to, you forget about the movement of your body. It becomes so rhythmic that can put you into a state of meditation. And all my best creative thinking usually comes when I'm out running. It just liberates something in me. So experience meditation and meditative movement, and then some people, yes, have found um, some real benefit in actually meditating, sitting and meditating. And I have not done that too much myself. All my meditation is in meditative movement, but I think that there's a lot more to explore in that area for me. And then spend time outdoors, taking in the light. There's something about getting out, and no matter what you do in all your areas of improvement, if you're doing it inside four walls, it's just going to be such I guess so less beneficial. Um, I I have I don't know if you've experienced it. I experienced so many times that I'm focusing on my computer. I'm sitting in these walls, and I go outside, and my first thought is, oh my God, how beautiful this is, how wonderful it is. It's a whole different world. And what the world was I doing inside for 10 hours on my computer? So something to just be aware of, that there's something powerful about taking in the light. Okay, Annie, take over.
I find it interesting that through all of this, a lot of people's prayers to God have been answered. Like, God, help me find a way out of this job. Help me find a way to spend more time with my family. And so I think this is also the time to have that reflective moment where we're like, gosh, yeah, here's the gratitude. Thank you for, it may not have been wrapped in the wrapping paper I was expecting it to be wrapped in, but it doesn't mean it's not a gift. And to, to exercise the gratitude in this experience as well.
Beautiful. One door closes, another opens.
Yeah. And look at how beautiful, like, the earth is getting a little bit of a reprieve right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the energy, I don't know, Holly, are you picking up on the energy shifts?
Oh, definitely.
Like,
In fact, I have a I have a photo I want to show you that I took Saturday as I was up in the mountains. And it's like it is clearer now than it has been for probably 70 years. We've got a traffic level in the valley here and a quiet and a peace that this valley has not experienced for over 70 years. You're talking 1950, earlier than 1950. And the earth itself breathes a sigh of relief. And if you listen carefully, you can feel that and participate in it. So yeah, I hear you.
Just think about how simple of not having to deal with rush hour traffic for 30 days
Mm-hmm.
can heal parts of the body.
Mm-hmm.
By just removing that one element or adding that one element, how much stress it could add or detract from the situation.
You know, all those things that there's my picture.
Yeah, look at that.
It almost looks surreal.
Like it's
This,
painted.
yeah, it looks like a painting. It's the La Madre Mountain Wilderness. And you're seeing Centennial Hills in the foreground. And I'm out in the desert north of Centennial Hills. And this is the earth breathing a sigh of relief. Yeah.
LA, China, all
Mhm.
New York City, all these metropolitan places, they're starting to be able to see buildings that they couldn't
Yeah.
see. Like,
That's huge.
It
yeah.
is huge. And I, Annie, you were saying about the shifts I've been feeling. Yeah, because what I've noticed is the group of light workers that I'm connected with, everybody's calm and peaceful and
Yeah.
has been since the beginning.
Yeah.
And the people that other people could be running around, like, the thing is that they've all been running around like chickens with their head cut off anyway. But when you make them stop, it takes a while for the mind to stop.
Mhm.
So how do parents that are like, well, we're going to soccer and now we're going to band and now we're going to this for this child and this for that child, and you're running around just doing, and now you can't do any of those things, and it's just stop. So I experienced the chaos of that winding down and stopping. And then I have experienced something that I think is the most magnificent thing. And that is that because we're connecting more with people we love, we're connecting with our children more, we're connecting more with each other. We're being grateful for what we have had, and there's a amplification of love on the planet.
Yes.
Mhm.
So the love to me is like what is going to shift. Love will do what it will do. It will
Mhm.
shift this planet in a way we have no idea. And so I don't think it's just me staying in a place of love, because I can do that pretty easily myself. I arranged my life that way, but I have felt that shift, right, Annie?
Oh, I'm hyper on it. Like I am feeding off of this energy.
Yeah, me too.
And
Yeah,
I
what
think
we're go ahead.
I'm just going to say that I think we've seen it enough times where a person will get sick in order to take a break, right? Sometimes the sickness is the cure. And
Mm.
I think the planet is going through that right now, right? Where we've been forced to stop what we're doing so that we can reprioritize to what we truly feel is important.
Mm.
And, friends, family, loved ones, and lights went off. And I see that. So that's my analogy that I'm using to
Mhm.
understand what's happening right now.
That's beautiful.
That's a great point, Gus.
Mhm. The planet is healing itself.
Yeah, that's right. Because I go outside, I see families, entire families riding outside in the sun, riding their bikes. I I don't know when was the last time I saw that. A rock
I
wall painting?
agree.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first time, the kids don't want to be playing video games inside the house. They want to go ride the
Yep.
bikes and play outside,
Yeah.
right? Like,
You can't go outside. Oh, we want to go outside now.
I've never seen so many of my neighbors outside gardening, waving, walking
Yes.
around.
Same.
Kids I didn't even know lived in my neighborhood on
Mhm.
bikes. Like,
Yeah.
where
Who
did you
are
all
these
come
people?
from?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Right? So many gifts are being answered in this.
Well, another
Yeah.
thing that happened with a friend of mine who's a teacher was the first week out of school, the parents were calling her and just like, rah, 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 rah. And how are we going to teach the kids? And, rah, 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 rah. And then she had some foresight that she created all her curriculum on a website, and she now can run her classes from that and teach all her class.
Wow.
It's at a private school, but they're all on Zoom with her.
Yeah.
And the parents are amazed at what a teacher does,
Yes.
because they had no idea. Because then they were sitting there, they couldn't do it with their kid, and they got all upset and was yelling at her. And then she comes on, and the kids love her and are learning from her, and they're like, oh my God, teachers are valuable.
Look at all the professions that are suddenly heroes. Cashiers. Who ever gave credit to cashiers in the past?
Yeah.
Cashiers, teachers, healthcare workers, even the CNAs, right? Like the people that were kind of they were overshadowed by other things like celebrities.
Mm-hmm. Delivery
That
people.
now, right now, these are the heroes.
Yep.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
Oh my
Mhm.
Lord, just
The
list
garbage
goes on.
people.
Yep.
Right.
Yes. You know,
Like this is the great equalizer right here.
I love it. Yeah.
there was
I'm very excited about it. I think it's shifting the consciousness really fast in a more loving direction.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Before television and all the noise of our society. You know, I'm thinking back, I'm looking at this picture and I'm thinking back to what it was like before anyone was here or before all this technology. And the ancients had what they called the music of the spheres. Have you heard of that? Where if you listen deeply enough, you can hear, they believe that you could hear the music of the planets as they hum around their courses. And you know, I think that in a time of quiet like this, we can deepen our listening and our awareness skills. And I think that's what I'm hearing you guys talking about too, is being aware of things that we were not aware of in all the busyness, listening more deeply, asking the deeper questions. So yeah, wow.
Did you get a chance to read that book, David?
I've read half of it.
Okay.
I
This
bet.
is the time to read
Okay.
the rest of it.
Okay, I got it. Okay,
What's the
good.
book?
Mutant Message Down Under. You're
Holly
muted, but
likes that.
I figured out from the gestures.
She thought you were saying muted message down under. Okay.
No,
So
I know the book well.
Yeah, it's a great book. And it fits right into all of this very well.
okay, let me go back now to a few of the things I promised. Okay, we talked about spiritual. Okay, here is the order, the stay-at-home order that was issued today. It's a statewide business shutdown, ordering Nevadans to stay at home to slow the spread of the coronavirus. In the order announced today, applies to all public gathering events and other non-essential activities planned through April 30th, adding 14 days to a shutdown order issued earlier this month. Residents will still be allowed to leave their homes to exercise and shop for food, so long as they stay at least 6 feet away from those outside their household. So that's an important thing to know. Gus and his friends in the park are just fine. And let's see. They'll also be allowed to go to gas stations, pharmacies, grocery stores, banks, takeout restaurants, and other essential businesses, but are not supposed to leave home for any other reason, including work at a non-essential business. So basically, I believe that it's just saying keep your distance from people, and really be disciplined in that. And truly, if we don't take advantage of this time where we have a window of opportunity to shut this virus down, if we get lax in this, we could be in for a plague of proportions that have not been experienced in the world since the Middle Ages. Do you know that I've been thinking of some of the songs and poems that we grew up with? How many know the song "Ring Around the Rosie"?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did that. Okay, that came from the bubonic plague. The Rosie was actually a mark that was the first. It was a little circular mark on your somewhere on your body that was the first sign you had the plague. So ring around the rosy, a pocket full of posy. Posies were the flowers that the scent helped to overcome the stench of dead bodies. So ring around the rosy, a pocket full of posies, okay? Ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Burning the bodies, basically. Can you imagine? I never knew that as a child. And I'm playing the ring around the rosy game. That came from the bubonic plague. When somebody sneezes and you say, bless you. Well, a sneeze was a first sign of the bubonic plague in the Middle Ages. And you'd say, bless you, because you were concerned about what was coming to that person's life. Now we just do it automatically. And that was way back in the Middle Ages. This is how powerful an event like this can be to humanity. We are in the midst of a historic event that could be remembered for hundreds of years into the future, and maybe for all the future right now. And so how we navigate this is going to affect all of the future, potentially the future of humanity. So just a thought, this important times. Okay. What's open? Biking, walking, running, hiking, but keeping your distance. I think biking is really good. I used to ride my bike a lot. I rode it across the country one year when I was in college. But you are pretty distant from people when you're biking. When you're out, you're and you're exercising, aerobic exercise, you're building up your lung capacity. And we're dealing with a virus that attacks the respiratory system. So one of the best things you can do is breathe deeply, aerobically exercise, build up your lung capacity. And another thing that destroys the virus is ultraviolet light. And so when you get outside, you're in a situation, you're taking in the sun. This is one summer where when the furnace of Las Vegas summer turns on, we all may be saying thank you. So anyway, yeah, be outside, and all these activities are aerobic and they're outside. and just be thinking of breathing deeply. When I lie in bed, sometimes I'll just breathe very deeply. I'll breathe in as far as I can, and then I'll breathe in a little more. And just thinking of, how can I expand my lung capacity? I do it for running, to create more endurance. But all of this is vital for what we're about to face potentially. And it could be any of us here, and people that we know, and what we're sharing today is not just for us, but it's definitely these things we need to say to others around us and communicate. I have a website where I've created virtual wilderness tours, LasVegasAreaTrails.com, and I created it so that in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, when I'm not able to get outside anymore, I'll at least have something to look at. I can look at all these adventures, and what I do is, as I move through the wilderness, every quarter mile or eighth mile, quarter mile, I'll do a 360-degree view of where I am. I do that from mountaintops. I do that from all the way up the mountain. And sometimes I'll look at some of those videos, and it feeds the soul to be able to see those videos and to see those scenes. So that's definitely available. I've got, I got close over 50 pages of wilderness adventures. And what's closed? National parks, Red Rock, Lake Mead are closed. Valley of Fire is closed. And those are just the ones that I've seen immediately from a quick look. You can't go around the Red Rock Loop, for example, the scenic drive. You can't go into Lake Mead Park. You can't go into Valley of Fire Park. So what's open? There's a cool trail called the River Mountains Loop Trail. It's a 30-mile trail that normally it's accessed from the Lake Mead area, from inside Lake Mead. You can't access it from Lake Mead. However, if you go to this link, let's see. Yeah, you go to this link and it will show you, talks about the trail, and here it talks about some accesses, trailheads that are still open to it. Equestrian Park Trailhead.
Scroll up. Scroll
What's
up,
that?
David. Scroll up to the City of Henderson part. So a lot of the City of Henderson, we have Sloan Canyon.
Yes.
Sloan Canyon, that's my backyard. There are miles and miles of trails in there too.
And LasVegasAreaTrails.com, South Las Vegas, Sloan Canyon. Here's the overview.
Yeah.
And here is the trail system. I haven't gotten there yet, but that's on the list.
Yeah.
So yeah, all these trails, you can hit the McCullough Hills Trail from Anthem Hills, Mission Hills Trailhead. I think this Petroglyph Canyon Trailhead might be closed at this point. So some of these are closed, and there's a number you can call. Yeah.
McCullough Hills is still open, and Mission Hills is still open.
Okay.
All that's like that whole area is just you can't even they wouldn't be able to
Block it
section
off.
it off, block it off. So
Yeah.
it's all open, and it's beautiful blooming season right now up there. The cacti flowers are just getting vibrant with all the rain we've had.
And notice this relief map. These are hills, well, McCullough Hills. When you're looking out in this direction, you're seeing Red Rock Park, all the way over into Red Rock Park. in the mountains, you're seeing those mountains that I showed in the picture a moment ago. Yeah, you're seeing this when you're on that trail. So yeah, it does feed the soul. So, and here's that loop trail I was talking about, River Mountains Loop Trail, 30-mile trail, and you can access it from those 3 points. And I'll put this up, this presentation up on the Las Vegas Area Trails site, and give you all the links so you can find these. Here's something that is really amazing. I showed that picture earlier that I took from Gas Peak in North Las Vegas. And this is that desert area. If you go out Durango Boulevard to the very north end, there's a place called Tule Springs Fossil Beds. And you can walk, through these hills, on top of the hills. And here's Gas Peak, by the way, from where I took that picture earlier and was looking at the La Madre Mountains. But all of this you can access. And as Annie mentioned, Sloan Canyon area. Lone Mountain's another great place, but I'd go earlier in the morning. It can kind of get mobbed with people later in the day. And who has another place that you'd like to go?
I like to go to Mount Charleston, and it's
Okay.
still snowing right now. So I just went a couple days ago to sled.
Where do you go?
To Lee Canyon.
Okay.
It's like right before the ski resort. I mean, it's quite a bit of it's about an hour drive, but it's nice to see the snow. It's a good change of pace.
There is another area on the way out there to Lee Canyon. It's called the Desert National Wildlife Refuge.
Yeah, on Corn Creek.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that you can wander around all over the place, but that's going to be getting too hot soon. And so yeah, Mount Charleston's a awesome place to be. So good. Okay, well, that's the whole story I have to share with you tonight. And what I hope is the best for everyone's here. We're going to go through a lot that we don't even know at this point. We're on the edge of something that is really huge. And let's hang together through that experience and come out the other side, improved, deeper character, growing in every way. It's my hope for you.
Love it. Let's do it.
Thank you, David.
Thank
Good
you
stuff.
so much.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
Excellent.
Good job, everyone.
Yeah, thank you all. You made it what it was.
Mhm.